Right now, buying a new truck could be difficult. Just as we've seen in the new car market, factors such as a shortage of computer chips have made full production difficult, if not impossible, and that has turned a lot of attention to the used truck market. You're listening to Landline Now, and I'm your host, Mark Reddick. Welcome back to the program. The chip shortage is just one factor, so it leads to a series of questions. Among them, how much of a factor is the pandemic? How has the surge in freight affected demand? Are different types of operations or freight driving the used truck market? And so on. So where do you find out which trends are happening and how they'll influence the price you'll pay as an owner-operator buying a used truck? I turned to Greg Frary of TruckTractorTrailer.com for some answers. Well, Greg, let's go ahead and start off with just some overall trends about the market right now. What's happening in the used truck market?
Well, so to start off, 2021 has already been booked as the year with the highest retail values of trucks used trucks in history. Last year, auction prices rose 7% month over month for the entire year for used equipment, and retail grew 3 to 5%. Of course, the 5% being the newer equipment. The 3 to 5% month over month, every month for 2021, and gaining it the dubious distinction of being the year with the highest used truck values ever. The outlook is rolling into 2022 is that there'll be more of the same at a minimum through the end of the first half of 2022. Now, the upside here is that December and January, we started to see some upticks in new truck deliveries. And what that serves to do then is put more used truck capacity into the marketplace, which, eventually softens pricing. And so that's good. Freight rates are still up there, but I follow about 12 different owner operators on social media platforms who have, this is from the horse's mouth, who have been making comments about starting to see some spot rates dropping a little bit. But the point here is freight is still hot. Freight is still paying well, even if they're dropping a bit, spot rates. And, a rising price of a used truck, may not be an impediment if you're also making that kind of increase in what you're getting paid to haul. So kind of that piece takes care of itself to an extent. Now, there's some other factors going on that we're all playing with, right? So the first one is fuel prices rising. That generally can be taken care of with a fuel surcharge and get to a break-even basis for small trucking companies and owner-operators. Generally, you can get to a break-even so that the increase in fuel prices maybe doesn't hit you quite as hard, or it can at least be a partial offset. But inflation is here, right? We're all dealing with that in our everyday lives. Doesn't matter what you do. So the costs of parts and service and just meals on the road will also go up for all drivers. So that's another factor. There's really kind of no offset for that, right? So fuel, you got a fuel surcharge, maybe. Or at least partially, but with ancillary things, parts and service and food and anything else the driver buys on the road, there's no offset for that. That's just added pure cost to their operation. And speaking of buying a used truck, right? What happens in inflationary times is often the Fed will raise interest rates. Right. So that's another thing. It's pretty serious, should be taken into account or anticipated by anybody thinking about buying a used truck right now. So the 2019 trucks turned 4 years old in January and start entering the marketplace. And there were 30% more 2019 new trucks produced than 2018 trucks. So there's an anticipation that there'll be more inventory available in the marketplace, and that will help soften the blow of the price too. It should help the prices come down. Basically, those are all the factors that have to be considered when deciding to buy a used truck. Fortunately, available out on the amazing World Wide Web. I'm aware of a few calculators that help drivers, single drivers or small fleet guys, to just go in and put in their numbers and decide where they need to be on a cost per mile or a pay per mile basis to make money on, a given load, or, it can be done just in general. But so, it allows you to put in things like the weight of the load and your mile per gallon at that weight. Every good operator should know that stuff already, right? Your cost per mile for maintenance and everything, all the other associated costs. Again, a really good owner operator already knows all that stuff. It's a small business, and so you have to account for every penny and where it goes. But at the end of the calculation, then it says, I need to make $4 a mile to make money on this load, or I need to make $6 a mile to make money on this load. Otherwise, I'm not taking it. So financial factors, yes. So I've got a truck payment and I have an interest rate, and now I want to go out and go trucking, and all of those numbers have to go into your business model to get to a bottom line and say, what are you gonna take home to your family, right? And is it going to be enough? So
I want to ask you about a couple of things that have kind of come to my mind about this, especially as terms of the used truck market. And one of them, a couple of years ago, I was talking with some folks at a used truck dealer, and they talked about what seems obvious, which is that the inventory is a finite number. It's basically, you can't make more used trucks. It's only how many trucks were manufactured in a particular year. And although you mentioned that 2019 trucks are the ones really entering the used market right now, we all know about the chip shortage and how that's affecting the truck manufacturers and their ability to make more trucks at this point in time. What do you think the effect is of that lack of inventory in terms of the 2021, 2022 models as compared to, how is that affecting the market right now for the 2019? Is that driving price to some extent?
Yeah, the overall scarcity is driving prices. I think used truck dealers, for the data that I've seen, sold 4.5 trucks per rooftop last year, and it could have easily been double that if inventory was available, right? So I haven't seen the counts yet, and I know they got to be out there, or started to be out there. But how many actual trucks will be delivered to the end user for 2021? How many are anticipated for 2022? But certainly that affects the price of things, just on down the line. But the more new trucks are delivered, the more used trucks are freed up and sent to the marketplace for their next owner. And again, that just serves to lower the price and create more value and more options for buyers. I will say that a truck buyer today needs to be buying a truck in a marketplace. Okay, instead of looking at a single source, a single dealer, they need to be in a marketplace. Online is the way to do it these days, right? In a marketplace where they can look at competing dealerships and trucks and pricing, but then also financing, right? Getting kind of a good overview on financing and what's available as far as a rate. Yeah, I think the days of walking into the local Pete dealership and saying, what do you have for used trucks? I need one, are kind of dwindling, right? The online function is overtaken all those processes that we used to know. But all those processes still happen. They just happen virtually now. And I've heard folks say, well, you're going to buy you're crazy if you think somebody's going to buy an $80,000 tractor online, sight unseen, but they do it every single day. And I don't know if anybody's looked at the price of even just a new pickup truck these days, right? That it can easily bleed into 80 grand, right? And or more, and people are buying them online every day. So the risk has been mitigated to the greatest extent possible for people buying vehicles, any vehicle, online. And so marketplaces are where to be. I would say for any vehicle, a car as well, right? You want to be in a portal that's got plenty of selection, and it's got financing, it's got everything else that you might need, so you can just take care of it all in one. And listen, that saves you from sitting with the F&I guy for finance and insurance guy for 3 hours, right? Trying to get the deal closed. So we've all three been that frustration, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we've got about a minute left, Greg. Is there anything else on this topic that you want to include?
No, I think trucking is a great industry to be part of. I think it's very strong, and this is cyclical, right? So at some point, the industry will flip, the economy will flip, and then we'll have too many new trucks sitting on fences, right, at fleets, and those trucks will then come into the marketplace. And so nobody is real sure when that will happen, but middle to end of 2022 and maybe even into 2023 is what I'm hearing. So that's it. Yeah.
Okey-doke. Greg, thank you.
Certainly.
I've been talking with Greg Frary of TruckTractorTrailer.com about buying used. You can learn more at the Truck Tractor Trailer website, TruckTractorTrailer.com, or by calling their main number 1-844-TTT-6775. That's 1-844-888-6775. You can also contact them with general questions at support@TruckTractorTrailer.com. Again, that's TruckTractorTrailer.com and 1-844-TTT-6775, or by email at support@TruckTractorTrailer.com. And you can find all that information on our website, LandlineNow.com. Just click on the photo or the headline in the red box and scroll to the bottom. That's where you'll find all the websites, email addresses, and phone numbers we mention on the show. Again, that's at LandlineNow.com.